So, I wanted to do a little comparison here. I wanted to ask the question, is VEIN the new SCUM? Because here we got a development update, and it's been kind of like this for months. Like, the last update we got was they threw, what was it, like a couple pieces of clothing, I think maybe a vehicle and a weapon. Well, we still haven't seen the SKS. Some people were expecting the new terrain textures. There was talk about a new surprise POI that doesn't seem to have made it into the last update. So you get these updates and you just read them, and the programmers are working on bug fixes, more level design, more bug fixes. They're trying to get the game polished for version 1.0, but if you've been playing Scum a while, you know that it's almost like they've got somebody in there who's just adding bugs to the game while others are fixing them. It's almost like they got somebody from Bohemia Interactive working for them and sabotaging their work. Um, I don't understand how some of those bugs even happen. Unless it's because of like stellar radiation is flipping bits or something when they go to compile the game. I don't know if that's a possibility. Um, so they're saying the animators are working on polishing weapon animations. I didn't realize there was anything wrong with the weapon animations. They're working on the tractor. Like the tractor is a very, it's got some style, but it's a very low tier vehicle. You know, I wouldn't make it a huge priority. I mean, it's it's good when you're starting out if you find a tractor because it's better than having no car at all. And as long as you don't have to piece the tractor together in order to get it going, that would be okay, I guess. But I kind of wonder if the reason the tractor hasn't been in was because they've been wanting to make it part of their modular system, in which case you would have to piece the tractor together. Like, who's gonna spend the time piecing a tractor together when you could piece a car together instead? Um, Unless maybe the tractor will have some use in farming, that would be kind of nice. Um, and hard surface is working on bugs. Soft surface is focused on multiple tasks, doesn't really say anything, which are comprised of testing, probably to make sure there are no bugs. Um, 2D has been making some improvements in the server browser. Um, I don't use the server browser much, but I think that's a priority. It absolutely drives me nuts when your server browser won't save your filter preferences or your sorting preferences, and you have to set it every single time you want to go looking for a game. It's like that's such, user interfaces have to be like one of the simplest things to program in a game, yet they're like one of the most neglected um, quality of life issues in a game. So good on GamePires for working on the server browser, because when a server browser doesn't work as well as it should or as efficiently as it should, it kind of drives you nuts, when you use it. Like, for example, I would use a server browser in DayZ, which is frickin' broken as hell. And, Yeah, it drives me nuts a little bit because I don't have an established server for that game that I use routinely, where my character is hosted. Um, Fixing some issues that arose with the tractor's icon. Really? That's very specific. Um, Sound team has had their hands full with their work on Dina's voiceovers and bug fixes. Dina is something like some people are going to use like their first time playing the game, which admittedly that's where a lot of players in Scum are lost, is in the first few hours of playing the game. A lot of players find it to be too much, or I don't know, and they just opt out, and they really kind of screw themselves over, because Scum, there's so much to Scum that ought to be experienced by any gamer that appreciates survival games, that doesn't get experienced because they just get turned off by various things in the first few hours. And you could see that in the Steam achievements. But then some people say a lot of those stats are based on the early years of Scum, but like Scum's been uh, in early access for, has it been 7 years now? I forget. It's been a while. So quality assurance, same old, testing features, animations, sniffing out bugs, marking them for death, hunting cheaters, and engaging with you guys. Um, Game design department has commenced their work on polishing codex entry and has also begun adding. Codex is also, I think, the tutorial for, which is primarily going to benefit new players. Um, let's move on to the next segment. Will version 1.0 allow adjustments to weapon jamming? And then there's a little bit of a debate going on about whether, and in the comments about, whether a gun that's 100% durability should jam or not. It kind of depends on the model. Some guns are known to jam even when they're 100%, and some aren't. Anyway, but, as a general rule of thumb, I think that, yeah, if a player maintains their weapon to the degree that it's at 100%, then they should be rewarded with more reliability. what I've what I've been experiencing is that my weapons will seem to jam, and maybe I'm confusing this with what's happening in Stalker 2, but my weapons will seem to jam when the puppets are attacking. And of course, I'm probably not firing my weapons if puppets aren't attacking, so it would be when puppets are attacking that there would be a chance that they would jam. So would the developers consider making this an option for server owners to enable or disable? I wish they would not put things in yes or no toggles like that. Like, it should be adjustable by the server owner. Like, it should be represented by a real number or a percentage. Or, I don't like multipliers because I don't know what I'm multiplying. I don't know what the base figures are, so how the heck would I accurately adjust the server when I'm just multiplying x? I don't know what the value of x is. Your multipliers suck. Now, sometimes, and they've been getting better at it, in the tooltips, they'll put what the base figures are, and that's very helpful. Well, then I know what I'm multiplying. But I think that's mostly the case. They're providing the values mostly in cases where it's not a multiplier. Adding this as an optional feature in the server settings hasn't been planned for the full release of the game, but the idea does have some merit, and we might consider it after the 1.0 release. Like we might consider it. They might actually consider it after the 1.0 release. How long does it take to consider it? I mean, it's right in your face. Yes, it should be a server option. There, consideration done. Now, plan it for after 1.0, period. There, stick a pin in it. It's done. Like, oh yeah, we're going to have a meeting about having a meeting about it, after the 1.0 release. Just make a decision. Jesus. I don't even like to say that word. You just piss me off. I'd like to point out that for weeks and weeks we've been getting weekly updates that state the majority of the team has been working on optimization. Yeah, that ever elusive optimization, which is an ideal that you will never achieve to everyone's satisfaction, but which causes you to nerf various features of the game that makes it less than what it was for players who have been satisfactorily playing the game for years. So yeah, just stop that. Most of the time you're running down these rabbit holes where you think that that such and such is the culprit of and the reason that your game isn't optimized, and it's not. That's not the culprit. And you just wind up breaking things or marring them or tarnishing them trying to pursue this elusive ideal of optimization, which no one out there who complains about optimization is going to be able to tell you what the figure, the numerical figure is for that optimization. If their game's getting 120 FPS, they're going to complain that they're not getting 160 FPS. These people are whiners and gripers. So don't let them determine the direction of your game design. And then this guy says, have you guys understood the implications of this? Is the dev team confident they are doing an adequate job to compensate almost a year of dev updates claiming bug fixing is being done for 1.0? Yeah, I mean, I'm just, day after day, I'm seeing the hype about 1.0. 1.0, oh, the future's going to be so great for SCUM, 1.0, 1.0. And it's like they're just kicking the can down the road. And the feeling I'm getting is, unless they're keeping all the great things that are going to come in 1.0 under wraps so that they surprise us with them, my feeling, I'm not saying this is a prediction, it's just a feeling, and I'm an INFJ personality type, so my feelings are usually pretty good predictions. But my feeling is that we are not going to be getting in 1.0 a lot of the stuff that we've been promised in the conceptual art, and even in the trailers during the last year or two. Otherwise, I really think they would be saying a little something more about them. I don't even want to think what will happen in response if many bugs and optimization issues still exist when 1.0 drops. Yeah, I mean the gamers are going to react negatively, but you know what? They've already been reacting to Scum negatively. A lot of the people who aren't in love with Scum now are still not going to be in love with Scum later, probably. And a lot of the people who are in love with Scum are being turned off by lots of the things you're doing to Scum in your pursuit of that elusive ideal of optimization. We'd like to take this opportunity to shed some light on this sentiment since it is a recurring one. The current concern you're having is exactly what we do not want to happen, and the reason why we are putting so much effort into optimizing this game. There it is again, optimizing as much as we can with the full release so you guys get the most smooth and bug-free experience in Scum we can make. Yeah, well, is one of those optimizations the fact that I can look through binoculars from the radio station down to the trees around the airport, and I'm just seeing these low poly models of the trees instead of detailed models of the trees. If I'm looking through binoculars at something, the image that I see through the binoculars should be high detailed models as if those trees were near me. So that optimization kind of sucks. So let's see. And then there's something about riding on a plane. And that if the two players are streaming the game's assets at different speeds, let's see. Yeah, when it comes to their respective rigs and their respective streaming speeds, I'm gonna get a cough drop. Sorry about that. This issue should appear less frequently with further optimization of the game. In other words, turning down the quality of the graphics until it's such crap that it will run on anybody's toaster in the caves of Tora Bora with the rest of the Taliban. I mean, I've got a 1080 card. I thought I had a 1080 Ti card on my system. My system's years old. I had my system, I think, before I started playing Scum. And my system has never had a problem playing Scum, except when the server has had 40 plus players on it, and especially if it was a PvE server where things were so easy and everybody's just massing up loot all over the map. Yeah, then usually about from the second to the third hour, and this was on a server that was restarting every 3 hours, so from the second to the third hour the lag would get pretty bad, even to the point of unplayable. On a server with 40 or 50 players where the map was just oversaturated with items. That's the only time I've had a problem playing this game. Now, if you're trying to optimize this game and make it run better in this Unreal Engine 4 game, trying to make it run better for players who have something less than a 1080 card, I don't know, man. I don't think you're really I'm not sure you're prioritizing your demographics there, the right demographics. Like those new graphics. I like the HDR. Uh, the HDR that you looks like will be in version 1.0, where like the inside, if you're outside the building and it's daylight and you're looking in or through the windows, it's dark through the windows. That's how it should be. I like that. I think some players are complaining they didn't like that, but that's realistic. I like that. I do not like the bluish gray dingy ass shaders that you've applied in version 1.0, apparently trying to make the game look more like DayZ. Why the hell would you want to make Scum look more like DayZ when Scum is more gorgeous than DayZ is? DayZ's graphics just kind of suck, if you ask me. DayZ's graphics look like an attempt to look realistic. Whereas the original Arma Cold War Assault, otherwise known as Operation Flashpoint Cold War Crisis, in its day looked like looked like realistic graphics because it used photorealistic textures. Well, now in DayZ Standalone, which is basically a derivative of an Arma mod, the graphics don't look realistic. It looks like a game that's trying to look realistic. Whereas in Scum, the world looks realistic. So why you would want your game, where the world is just gorgeous at times, to look more like DayZ, I just don't get that. So a guy just wants an oven so he can put it in his base, and they say, oh, this isn't going to be a feature in version 1.0. And then it says, but, you know, having an oven in your base might be something we will consider down the line. Do you hear that? We might consider it down the line. In other words, we're not even considering your question right now. We're not even considering your question or your request. But we might consider it down the line. That's just dumb, dude. Like, you could at least have a plan to consider it. Why can't you tell a player who's playing your game, yes, okay, we will consider this 2 months after the release of version 1.0. You're not saying you're committing to anything. All you're committing to do is to consider it. But you can't even tell the player that you're willing to consider their request. What the fuck? What is going on with you guys? Are you about to, like, pull up stakes and close shop? I don't understand your language at all. There are no plans to add workout mechanics. There's no plans to add in-game loot setting UI. Yeah, because you have to go into this kind of like a database file, and you've got to like change the figures in the database file, and it kind of requires some coding syntax knowledge. There used to be an application somebody made to edit the economy, but then the devs went switching objects from one subgroup to another and just hosed that. So thank you for that, devs. You know, someone bothered to make us an app that would allow us to actually edit the economy, and then you go and hose it. dudes. It's hurting. So, but as far as like setting, you've got the ability to edit the loot tables, but you certainly haven't made it easy for anybody to do so. And as soon as you put out an update, you're going to go and screw up the loot tables so that the format doesn't match, and then somebody's edit isn't going to work anymore. Yeah, that's kind of like where we need mod support. This game sorely needs mod support so that the players can develop the game, because it just feels like the developers aren't really developing the game or listening to the players. Yeah, and the ability to, like, early on they had videos showing the players would be able to work out with exercise machines in the gym or weights. And players have been wanting that ever since, but there's no plans to add that. There's a lot of systems in this game that haven't been fully fleshed out yet. Like all the vitamins, they went and streamlined the metabolism screen, but then there's all these vitamins listed, but it doesn't even matter if you keep your vitamins topped off, because that's not working yet. So so basically this development update was a whole lot of nothing, and those are the complaints. And if you go into the comments, that's what the players are complaining about. This player says, so tired of waiting. Anyway, so I wanted to take a look at this because I want to contrast it with something else. Now, here are two games. One is the VEIN demo. I think if I go to the store page, the developer is Ramjet Studios. Now, last time I looked at VEIN before the recent updates, it was looking kind of rough. But now it's looking a lot better. And from what I understand, Ramjet Studios has two developers, as in two individual people. Another one is Road to Vostok. One developer, one individual, though I think he has gotten the funds to hire some third-party people to help with specific aspects of the game. Both of these are just improving their games by leaps and bounds. There seems to be something about the more people you add to a project, the less gets done, and the less improvement happens, and the more I don't know, entropy, chaos, inefficiency is introduced to the project. because these guys are like Oleg Maddox, who made IL-2 Sturmovik, and I was under the impression that that was a similar situation where he was kind of like the lone developer of that game. And how these guys, these Renaissance guys, do all these things. They do the graphics, they do the sound, they do the coding, they do, they do it all. And the game improves by leaps and bounds versus a larger team that just you get to just these incremental updates. And apparently, like, DayZ's even worse. Like, people say you can go for several months and you don't get any kind of update on excuse me, on DayZ. Um, so my question is VEIN the new SCUM? Because Road to Vostok, that's like an extraction shooter. It's not really the same. But VEIN is more like a zombie survival game. So the last time I played this, I think it was about an hour and a half, I was just super impressed with how intelligent the options were in the game. So let's take another look. I'd like to continue with my character and hopefully not die. I think I am loading. So it'd be nice if there was like some kind of progress bar there. So here I am, it's nighttime. Did I lock it? I didn't mean to lock. How do you lock a... Is it locked? There's no lock it. I don't want to lock it, I want to destroy it. Well, that's weird. What am I, lagging out? It's not letting me destroy these now. I don't want to really destroy that one. Why is nothing destroying now? Okay, is this a bug? Okay, that destroyed. Oh, I see. I need a cutting table in order to destroy that. Investigate. Learn how to build this. Need level 15 construction to investigate this. I'll leave the flag up. I don't want to destroy there's the curtain. Let's see. Medical. Need food. Need food. Let me see, I got some here, I think. Eat this dog food. Slightly well fed. Fill these wine bottles with water. Fill sink. Fill another container. Fill container. My canteen's full. Wine bottles are full. Alright, so let's take a look at the map. I'm here. I was heading to this river because I thought I'd need to go there to get water, but I could just fill up the sink apparently. Let's see what these are over here. Well, let me make sure I've got something. I don't really want to attract ooh, it's foggy. There's a shed over there. There's no lock on this door. Dead rat. Over encumbered. That's a bicycle helmet. Says I'm still encumbered. So I think I'll stop here. So there's a lot of detail to this game. Looks like I was able to rig up some electricity to those vending machines in order to access their contents.